Welcome. Hello. This is your fearless commissioner, Libby. And joining me today on this Takeover episode is Ross. How you doing, Ross?
Well, how about you? Excited to
Doing,
talk some fantasy?
yes, me too. Doing pretty well. I decided in my infinite wisdom that it'd be good to give Luke and Tim a week off, even though Tim doesn't really get a week off because he's going to take this video and edit it and touch it up and do his Tim magic with it. But I feel like it's a good thing for a different perspective. And since we were playing each other this week, it kind of made sense that we would kind of talk about the rivalry week.
And you get to be the Luke, and I get to be the Tim because my team was terrible.
I don't think I want to be the Luke, but I'll take that
You
burden
have to.
if we have to. First of all, just some opening thoughts here. Every time one of these videos comes up, I'm assuming Tim's the one who puts it. It always says unnamed Saturday Night Live Fantasy Football League, which it's not unnamed, Tim. It is named. It's just it's not smart or funny or it's just stupid. I just named a league Saturday Night League, as in Saturday Night Live.
Really hope that Tim does that because he knows it'll bother you just a little bit.
It's just every video, right? The opening is just like, it's not unnamed. Like, I named it. It's just not a good name. It is named. Anyways, yeah. So just I didn't really come up with the rivals like I usually do, but this one I was like, I presented them, the Shazer boys, some traditional rivals, and then I said, "What do you guys think? Like, we said we should. You said we should shake it up." And then Luke basically fired off what was the thing. It would end up being the matchups, and I was kind of I was kind of beside myself. So I'm like, I have to play Ross. But I was like, well, whatever. Someone has to do it, and it's fine. I didn't expect to win, but I did. I don't know. Do you think that we're rivals?
I kind of saw this as like, remember when the Big Ten did the legends and leaders, and they added these like extra rivalry games, and it was
Uh-huh.
like Wisconsin plays Nebraska every year. It's one of those things where it's like, I'm not like unexcited about it, but I know it's very manufactured and it doesn't feel quite right.
Yeah.
Uh, so
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe this is our leaders and legends year, and we can go back to our actual. It's silly to me to say we need to shake up the rivalries because that's kind of the opposite of a rivalry.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm fine with the matchups. I would have rather played a bad team,
Yeah.
but here we are.
Yeah. I think my original thought was you would play Lucas because, you guys are cousins and you both live in Arizona. Makes sense. But at the same time, it's unfortunate. I don't know. It like you made a good point, but like I don't like that like Lucas and Ross have to play every single year for rivals. It's not really fair to you guys. So I don't know. We tried it. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. But yeah. Anyway,
Um,
yeah, go ahead.
I think we should get out our thoughts on our teams
Okay.
early so that we can talk about our teams and then we can stop talking about our teams because
Yeah.
it's not super interesting to anyone else.
Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Um, I kind of feel like my team is that feeling when you're leaning backward in a chair and you start to fall, and
Uh-huh.
like there's not a lot you can do about it, but it's just kind of like you kind of know it's not going to go well. Um, they're fine. I'm not complaining. Patrick
Yeah.
Mahomes is still good, but
Yeah, he is.
I just feel like they're fading, and Raheem Mostert's not going to get better. Zach, what's his face from the Colts is
Moss.
starting is going to fade. Yeah, Zach Moss. Thank
Hmm.
you.
Hmm.
It's kind of like that. I think I peaked way too early, and uh, I, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it could go a number of ways. I mean, honestly, if you would have started Amari Cooper this week, you would have been in much better shape. And it's kind of that like, do you start Cooper or Gabe Dave or Devontae when he looks like the way he's been looking? It's just, but I mean, I don't know. I don't think your team is bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's still really good.
I
And
just think they've peaked way too early,
yeah,
and it's kind of just a kind of makes it a.
yeah,
But
but you'll be hanging around. It's not like
it's
you're
fine.
going
I'm here.
anywhere. Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
here. I'm
That's kind of
fighting.
That's how I felt about my team too, because it's just like I thought my team was good. Well, first I thought it was really bad when I first drafted. I like had a breakdown mentally and like was texting Sam at like 10:30 at night one night after our draft. I'm like, man, what was I doing? This is so stupid. Like I have all this money and zero running backs, and I thought I was so depressed. And then it's like, well, we'll see how it goes. And then it's been going okay. It's like I score a ton of points. I don't, I'm also like, I'm like top four in points scored or top three or something like that. But I'm also like top in like points against. So it's just like, I'm, I'm okay with it. I'm like, I might not be in like, the top echelon or whatever, but I'll make the playoffs and it'll be fine. We'll see. Like, who knows
Just
what
see in the
happens?
rankings where if you're in the top echelon.
We will see that. We will see. Me and Ross kind of took over the rankings this week, and yeah, I'm excited to unveil those or to have
Movement.
have Tim unveil them in editing. Anyways. So we wanted to talk about real quick here the Ross don't be a dick rule because it's named after you, and I thought it was good. I think the whole league thought it was good, and then Luke kind of put that rule to the test here. And he boldly declared that he's keeping Anthony Richardson for next year. And so what happened is he drafted him, he dropped him, picked him back up. And I think he picked him back up after he was injured and he was still on, like he picked him back up for $0 or whatever. And he said, "Oh, I'm going to keep him." And I didn't really think about it much. And I'm like, "Oh, that's fine." But what's your gripe with that, Ross?
I think by the if we're playing that rule, which was you cannot keep a player you picked up while he was on season-ending IR, dropping Anthony Richardson after his injury would have made him ineligible as a keeper.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think that was part of the intention of the rule. Was I had Kyle Pitts sitting in my IR and I paid way too much for him last year, and I really wanted to drop him, but I didn't really want somebody to just pick him up and I don't know
Yeah.
get him for $15 if he turned into something at the end of the year or whatever.
Right.
And Javonte Williams, same situation where Tom dropped him, and I was like, do I have to bid on him to keep other people from keeping stupid keeper?
Yeah.
I'm fine with the exception in this case, I think, but I think we should clarify that like you can't drop guys for roster flexibility and then pick them back up at the end of the year as a keeper.
Yeah. I think, well, yeah, because by the letter of the rule, it says you cannot keep a player that you picked up while he was on season-ending injury. So he was already on season-ending injury, therefore Luke shouldn't have been able to keep him. But the caveat to that rule is you can keep that player if you drafted him or if you picked him up from waivers before the injury. Luke did draft him, but he also dropped him. So that's kind of the conflict in the rule. It's kind of like a loophole.
I am the idiot that wrote that, and it's a misplaced modifier.
Yeah, I mean, if we were to addend it or to change it, what would you change it to then in light of this?
I would just eliminate the parentheses.
Okay.
You can't keep a player that you picked up while he was on season-ending IR.
Yeah, and that's just the rule. I mean, the addendum is, I like the addendum though, because it's like if you pick them up, and then they got injured, then you can keep them. But I guess we could just eliminate the caveat really, and then the rule would still make
Yeah,
sense.
that was supposed to be clarifying, and it made it worse. So
Okay.
my bad.
So yeah, if Luke drops him again because like say he has another IR eligible player, he can't and then later changes his mind, he can't do that. Like he has to stick with him on his IR basically from here on out if he wants to keep him. Correct?
Yep, I'm good with that.
Okay.
As long as he pays the draft price,
Yeah, and well,
which is I think like $1 more. Well,
yeah. So okay, yeah, I'm okay with that too. So
that dollar is a matter of principle.
so $16, Luke.
If you're a strong commissioner, you will enforce that dollar.
I will let him know, or he'll see this. And Luke, you have to keep him for 16, not 15. Sorry. I was wrong about that. Sorry. All right. Well, moving on. I just wanted to address the league, basically Tim and Luke, mostly about how every single video I ever watch of them, they always are complaining about defenses and kickers, and I don't know if it's been tight ends or not, but and it has been brutal some weeks. Like it seems like almost every week there's a defense slash special teams that gets negative points. And I'm sorry. But we like I feel like almost every year we vote on this stuff, and maybe we didn't this year. I think I had a question in the uh thing about should we want to change this or not, and it always the majority always rules. Yeah, yeah.
It's not your fault.
I know. But anyways,
I'm part of the problem. I always vote to keep them. I think they're random and stupid, and I think that's part of the game. And
yeah. I think the kick in the nuts this year was that we did that defense kicker draft, which I thought was a good idea, but it just turned out that Nathan had the first pick and picked like the best scoring defense like in the history of fantasy football, giving him an instant edge, you know. So maybe next year, I don't know. I don't know if we'll do that again next year. Maybe we'll just do a kicker draft to get that one position out of the way, you know.
I like the idea of keeping the defense kicker draft even with that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm never gonna pay $2 for a defense unless I accidentally had too much money left.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, and if like we were to redraft today, how much would Dallas go for? $4? I don't know.
Probably $1. I don't know, maybe two,
Yeah.
three. I don't. The same with kickers. Like when it happened, it was like, oh, Ross got Justin Tucker. You made him, and it's
Yeah.
like he's been fine. He's a
Yeah.
good kicker, but
Yeah.
he doesn't score significantly more points than anyone else.
Kicking is just based on game script anyways. I think defense can be much more impactful positively and negatively, you know? But anyways. So we'll probably end up keeping it. I'm sure we'll vote on it again next year. Yeah. If if you guys are really that like upset about it, like start a campaign and convince everyone to vote it out and we'll change it. Like I have no qualms over changing that. Like I'm okay getting rid of it, but I'm not the one that you need to complain to everybody else. So anyways, let's get into the week recaps. We already talked about ours. You want to kind of we'll just take one after the other, kind of give our thoughts.
We talked about ours. The next one was Stefan beating Sam. Big win for Stefan. His second win, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I thought I like Tim and Luke thought Sam's team was the team to beat when this all started,
Yeah.
and it didn't work out that way. And
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, Sam seems weird because it's like, I mean, he has Puka Nakua, who has been insane, who he didn't start this week, which was good, and Travis Etienne had a bye, and Brock Purdy didn't play because he had a bye, so it was basic. I don't know. CeeDee Lamb looks good, you know. I don't know. I think it's probably just a blip for Sam. It's probably not serious. I don't know.
agreed.
So the next one would be Nathan versus Drew. This was the only matchup that I actually suggested to Luke. I just thought it'd be really funny to have these two play because Drew's so adamant that that trade was, you know, not highway robbery. And I think he got exposed a little bit this week. He actually Drew didn't have that bad of an output. It was just that Nathan's team was just, you know, really good.
That's really good.
Yeah.
What is there to say that there hasn't been said about that team? It's just really good.
Yeah, you're right.
The next one was Tom over Lucas in what was dubbed, I think, the Marcus Ann versus Fond du Lac Bowl. So this one hurt me a little bit.
Yeah, ouch.
Seeing Lucas go down with very little fight in the Monday night game, just kind of a bummer.
Yeah, we'll talk about that game later. Up in winners and losers, I have things to say about that. The next one was Luke over Wes, and you know they were pretty. It was pretty even for the most part. Luke was only down by like one, and he had a kicker, and that was it. And then Cameron Dicker did pretty well, but I don't know. Dicker the kicker. Wes also had. I mean, he had people on bye too, and then he, you know, Darren Waller like got put on IR. So, but anyways, you can take the last one there.
The last one was Tim and Seth, and Tim continues to flounder, and Seth's team continues to look good.
Yeah.
It's just a good team. Tim's team. Sorry, Tim. We love you, but your team is
Tim's teams are either like really good or really bad. There's no in between, just Tim's style. He takes big
yeah,
swings.
He's a real worst to first kind of guy.
Yes.
I love it about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So sorry, Tim, but thanks for editing the video because I don't know how, and you're good at it. Let's talk winners. Who's your first winner, Ross?
My first winner was Snuffy's Hose. And especially CJ Stroud putting up 40 plus points. Josh Jacobs got a second 20 plus point performance of the year. It's just a really good team.
Yep.
Running back, like he doesn't have the greatest running backs, but if Josh Jacobs is scoring 20 points, like he's just not going to lose.
Yeah. I mean, it is hard to foresee Nathan like really stumbling. Like, I mean, anything can happen in fantasy football. And like the one thing I wrote about him in my letter last week was like, I don't know about quarterback. And then CJ Stroud had that game and it's just like, whoa. So I mean, yeah, his running backs may be a little bit suspect, but it doesn't matter. You have AJ Brown and Tyreek Hill on the same team. I have them in my other fantasy league, and I'm really good in that league, and so yeah, it's nothing really it's gonna stop him. I just want Tim, if you can put up Nathan's icon for his team, like, come on, is this really the best you can do for your team icon, Nathan? Like, just the green ESPN helmet, like that is basic. Like
You got to get a snuffle up, I guess, on there or something.
something, yeah.
Keenan Thompson, like, give us something. Come
Yeah,
on now.
exactly. Yeah. My first winner was Tom Nauman. If you go in and you look at Tom's, he's been really hot right now, and he's been on this winning streak, but his team it was like ridiculous this week. Let me just pull it up here. Sorry. Uh, let's see. I mean, it was a really
20
close game.
points from Kate Otten,
Yeah, 20
20 from
points.
Ramondre.
Yeah, Ramondre Stevenson and Kate Otten went for 40, and Tom won this game over Lucas by 3 points, and he did it all without Christian McCaffrey, Sam Laporta, Javonte Williams. He had a bench full of people on buys, and yet still found a way to win. I was texting with him last night, like, "Oh, Tom, like." I sent him the gift of I'm not dead yet. I'm like Tom's fantasy team right now, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to bed. I'm going to hope for the best." And like, I can't believe I watched that game until like basically almost once the Chargers had that turnover that they just ran in for a touch. I'm like, that's it for Lucas, and I said, "Sorry, buddy," but yeah, it was a big win. I mean, a win's a win, and you don't apologize for it. It was good job by you. Joe Burrow looks amazing.
Right? He won when he was forced to start Justice Hill, who I've had on my team almost all year, and is just nothing. He's a
Yep.
nothing
Mm-hmm.
kind of
Definitely.
player. So good job, Tom.
Good job, Tom.
My next winner was the tight end position. Big win for Lucas and I, who always push for keeping them. 7 of the 12 starters put up 10 points or more this week. 4 of them had 18 plus points, and that was on a week that Travis Kelce had a bad week. He's saving his good games for Taylor, I think. And Laporta did not play because he was on bye. So tight end looking up.
Yeah, that is crazy. Good for them. I hope it keeps that way because my tight end who I just traded for is going on IR. So, yeah. Anyways, my last winner here is Luke and his trades and Cameron Dicker, the kicker. His kicker won him that game. All he needed was like 2 extra points, but he got him more than that, and he won comfortably. But the trade of Luke versus Wes was Luke had Hurts, he had Kelsey, he had Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Wes had Tua, Waller, and Waddle. And combined fantasy points was 380 for Luke versus 1930, 19.32, and an injured tight end for Wes. So it's only 1 week. It's only one set of data points, but and that's with Kelsey, like you said, only getting like 3 points. So looks like Luke won the trade so far, but I guess we'll see.
My last winner was Stefan.
Mhm.
You got to win, and what better time than rivalry week?
Yeah.
Make your mark, making it happen.
hmm I'm not speaking out of school, but I think Sam was kind of excited that Stefan was his rival, and showed up that you can't take anyone for granted in fantasy football. So good for you, Stefan. Win's a win. That's gotta feel good. Losers. So I'm gonna start with Lucas. Man, that sucks. Like, okay, I did a little bit of research into this. So Lucas versus Tom going into Monday Night Football was 93 to 103.5. So all Lucas needs from Justin Herbert, one of the best quarterbacks on planet Earth, is 10 and a half points. He's projected for 18. He averages 19 and a half points a game. He's the quarterback 8 on the year, and he had more than 18 points 6 out of 8 times he played this year. Like he didn't need anything special, just like an average game. And that Monday Night Football game was a dumpster fire. It was such garbage. Like the Jets defense is good, but they can't move the ball. All they can do is play defense. And it was like the same thing on the other side. It's like the Chargers had enough offense to get it done, but it was just such a bad game. And it's like Lucas knew that he was screwed, like with 8 minutes left. It's just like if he doesn't get like a first down, and then they just 3-and-outs, punts. That's all that game was. So it's really rough and brutal loss for Lucas.
My first loser is me and Devontae Adams, who is trapped in Las Vegas after they refused to trade him and then fired everyone else. Uh, that whole situation stinks.
Yeah.
He's really good, and no one can get the ball in his hands. So that's a bummer.
What he was like pretty good last year in fantasy football, right?
Yeah, he was still very good in fantasy last year.
Yeah.
I didn't understand why no one was bidding on him, and now I kind of get it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's tough. I mean, I watched, if anyone saw the Lions Raiders game the week before, it was like they just can't get the ball to him. And maybe they will now, like maybe it's a good time to actually if like say if you want to sell low on him, then maybe that might be a good time because I don't know, that new quarterback, like you never know.
Sell low, Libby.
I mean,
We should do.
I don't know. Well, anyways,
Your next loser.
I'm not gonna try to bump you up on that. Sam, probably. He was looking so good, and then this week was just want want like just a bad time to have a bad performance. I still think he's a good team, but for this week he's a loser.
I got Wes and Bijan Robinson. Uh, I just giving Art Smith fantasy players is the worst.
Yeah.
It's watching those teams is terrible. He insists on forcing the ball to Jonnu Smith, and it's just who knows? Who knows what's going on with that situation? But
Yeah.
he went from looking like an incredible pick to a couple bad games in a row now.
Yeah, totally. My next loser is just Drew. Because of the trade that he made for his running back who got him 2 points this week. Sorry, Drew.
And my last loser is Tim. He just keeps going back for the potato chip of Vikings players, and now Cam Akers tore his Achilles, and
just got dropped too.
Tim, stop doing
that. You don't eat other people's potato chips. Stupid. All right, best performance of the week. Why don't you go first, Ross?
Best performance I've got. CJ Stroud and Nathan by extension. Just a dominant performance. Yeah. That guy is good.
Yeah. It pains me to say, well, as a Wolverine fan, I'm twisting it to say, oh yeah, he is really good. And we beat him, twice. So yeah, good for you, Ohio State. Didn't do anything with your best quarterback that you ever had. I agree. Basically, I think that is the choice. But if I was to just offer a second one, it's Taysom Hill on Luke's team. Luke, who started two tight ends for some reason, and it ended up working out because Taysom Hill caught a
Tight ends is
touchdown.
back, buddy.
And
They're back.
I
I
picked up
guess I should
Taysom.
double check my numbers.
I picked up Taysom Hill in my other league too, and I was like, I don't know, we'll see. And like, it just happened to go off. So, yeah, I mean, good for you, Luke. Okay, worst performance. I had Drew and Kenneth Walker. And then my other one was Tim, who, I mean, I'm not gonna pick on Tim here, but you did get the most of your points from your kicker. He had 19 points, Young Ho Koo, shout out. And then Nico Collins got 12, nearly 13 points, and everyone else was under 9 points. It's rough.
Right. It's Drew and Kenneth Walker, though. Worst performance.
Yeah, think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's Weekend Update.
Okay, Ross. This was the part of the takeover that was the most challenging, I think, mentally to prepare for. It's weekend update. Let's get into weekend updates. Go ahead.
Steelers linebacker Cole Holcomb suffered a season-ending injury in the Thursday night win against the Titans. Unfortunately, this injury occurred after the NFL trade deadline, meaning that the Steelers will have to replace Holcomb internally. David S. Football's owner Tim Shazer has immediately contacted the Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin, unprompted, saying, "I told you shouldn't have started the defense."
Funny. Minnesota Vikings newly acquired quarterback Josh Dobbs led the team to a 31-28 comeback over the Arizona Cardinals, despite only being with the team for a few days. He did not even know some of the teammates' names. Dobbs said if he was to try to match the name of Vikings players to the roster, quote, "I'd be a bad teammate today. I knew a lot of first names," he admitted, "and I know a lot of nicknames per se, but names, that's an assignment for next week." Vikings play-by-play commentator Paul Allen later responded to that quote saying, "Josh Dobbs, you don't have to remember anyone's name because we will remember yours. We will follow you to the promised land. I will give up my life for yours. Skol, skol, skol." End quote. Go ahead.
Fantasy manager Luke Shazer has come under fire for trading a player who was about to be placed on injured reserve. When asked for comment on the trade, Luke responded, "I acquired Jalen Hurts. Now, that is a handsome man. I love when they push his tush," making all the other managers uncomfortable enough to not ask any follow-up questions.
Gotta push the tush. On NBC's broadcast of last Sunday's Bengals-Bills game, it was revealed that Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow's, quote, bedtime is 8 p.m. during football season. When asked for further comment as to why the 26-year-old goes to bed at 8, Burrow responded by saying, "Because that's when mommy and daddy said so." It was then reported that the quarterback walked away sleepily, sucking on his finger with his favorite blankie in tow. He's a really good quarterback. I don't think it's. Anyways, go ahead.
Dare Ugumbawale kicked field goals for the Titans last Sunday, including a game winner. A running back kicking field goals isn't totally unheard of, but it's weird and you don't really know how to feel about it, like the Lions in the playoffs.
Ouch. Well, we'll see. See about that. ESPN senior NFL insider Adam Schefter reported today that the Denver Broncos are announcing plans for a new training facility set to open in 2026 on their current campus. The cost, a reported $175 million, will be covered entirely by the Walton Penner ownership group, which last year invested $100 million into their stadium. The training facility will also feature a fully loaded Walmart superstore. And per star quarterback Russell Wilson's request. It will also feature a 2,000 square foot office for the quarterback containing 12 bathrooms. Wilson, when asked for comment on the facility, was quoted as saying, "An unlimited office for Mr. Unlimited. Let's ride." Those are weekend
Last
up.
one. Wait, I got one more.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
One. The Chicago Bears have signed newly acquired defensive end Montez Sweat to a 4-year, $98 million extension. Teammates are saying that Sweat, who previously played on a rookie contract for the Washington Commanders, has since demanded that they refer to him by his rich guy name, Montez Perspiration. That's for Tim.
I'm sure he appreciates that. Those are your weekend updates. I'm not sure if me or Ross did the bit justice, but it's a pretty dumb bit, and it's hard to do. So I appreciate.
It's really hard.
Yeah, good for Luke and Tim for striving to do that every single week. Well, without further ado, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, let's do the rankings. So last week it was Nathan, Ross. Nathan 1, Ross 2, Seth, Sam, Tom, Drew, Libby, Wes, Lucas, Luke, Tim, and then Stefan. And now, so we did it, and I don't know, I'm sure Tim will get a graphic up there, but why don't we go bottom to top?
We got number 12, Tim. Sorry, man.
Yeah.
That's how you get the extra weekend update joke.
Yeah, you can just
something to stick around for.
Yeah, totally. You can just, why don't you go up to like 6?
All right. We got number 11, Stefan. Number 10, Wes. Number 9, Lucas. Number 8, Luke. Number 7, Drew. And number 6, Sam.
Yeah, and me and Ross, we kind of did our own rankings first, and then we kind of compared and contrasted to see where we had some overlap. We had overlap with Sam at 6, or is that right? Oh yeah, and then
Sam and Drew at 6, 7,
and then Stefan and Tim, and I had Lucas lower than I had Lucas and I had Luke, Wes, and Lucas in a different order, but it's basically, you can flip those guys however you want. Yeah. I don't know. I think it was. Yeah, I don't know if anyone's going to be really offended, honestly. Then the next ones are kind of tricky, which I guess I'll just go. At 5, we had Tom. At 4, we had me. At 3, we had you. At 2, we had Seth. And then, of course, Nathan at number 1. I had put you higher, Ross. I put you at 2 because I thought, now you and Seth had the same record, right? Yeah.
So I think he had quite a few more points for. I think his team has been performing better recently. Yeah. And which I think is kind of the exercise of a power ranking. So
yeah, I guess he has like 15 more points than you do on the season. So it's pretty close. Like I thought that, I don't know. We'll see what happens when with that later around. But Nathan, you can't argue Nathan's won, and he has been for a long time. I had put Tom ahead of me just because it's like I had the better week. I mean, I think I had the best week point wise out of the league, but I think Tom's team is just hotter. He's more consistent nowadays. And my team is just I win one and I lose one. But I don't know. So
yeah, I maybe overrated you a little bit since I played against you and we destroyed you and your team was on bye. So
yeah. I think these things you can argue with them. I think our rankings aren't bad. They're pretty fair.
I think so. I do want to comment one more thing on Nathan's team.
Sure.
And this is as much to Tim and Luke as anybody. I feel like things were getting thrown around of, oh, this is a historically good team. No one's going to beat him. Blah, blah, blah. I just feel like I have to remind everyone. I did have an undefeated regular season a couple of years ago. So just because I lost and then I lost very early in the playoffs. So we have seen none of this is unprecedented.
That's true. That's very true. Who'd that team lose to?
Sam Nauman, I think.
No, I think it was me.
Was it you?
Yeah. It was, I remember it was 2 years ago because the Lions were bad and you had like Kyler Murray as quarterback and like we played them that week and he just like crapped the bed. And it was just like a bad, like But yeah, that was the year you had Cooper Kupp with like the best year of fantasy football ever, and then you had Taylor, the Colts running back, who was RB1.
Good year.
Yeah,
So enjoy it up there, Nathan. Playoffs are a whole different animal.
it's really true. I thought I was really good last year, and then like I played Wes one random week, and he just destroyed me. So you never know. Like I think he's definitely
wanted to invent a new trophy for your team last year.
What's that?
I don't know if you remember that, but he was like, we have to find a way to reward this greatness.
Yeah, exactly. Now no one remembers it because it's just like, yeah, Wes beat me and that was that. And then you beat Wes and that was it.
Now Nathan's team is the best team we've ever seen.
Yeah. So, we'll see. We'll see. It's not going to stay like that. So rankings are meant to be moved and playoffs will determine a lot. Stone Cold Locks of the Century of the Week. So I did get they wanted to send them to me. I didn't really have any I was gonna try to like pick them, but these lines are stupid, and I think we can talk about that. Like, it's all based off of who you have set in your lineup from like the previous week, so it changes depending on who you insert into your lineup throughout the week, and then what the projections are. It's all based off projections, so sometimes it's a huge number, sometimes it's like a small number, and then the other team wins by a ton. It's just I understand the bit, and I like what they do, but I don't know. You got anything on that?
A bit.
Yeah,
I respect the bit. I can read Tim's picks here. Tim's 11 and 16. He's got Lucas minus 6.5, Tom minus 6.8, and Sam minus 24.8. He wrote the lines are still a little funky because of buys and lineups not being set, but I based mine off of what the projected lineups would be. Ross versus Sam this week, with Sam surging and Ross fading. It seemed like a great time for classic rivalry. I agree. Our picks went a combined 1 and 6 last week, and our picks with me going 0 and 3, insult to injury. With that and being dead last in our league, maybe a week off of the video will do me some good to rethink my entire life. What a fun game we all choose to play.
at least you got Dobbs, Tim. And it's not all bad, but those are interesting picks. I'll read Luke's. Luke is doing a lot better than Tim is. He's 17 on 10. He has Nathan by minus 20. I've looked since then. It's moved to minus 12, but he has Nathan. That's a lot of points. He also has Drew minus 14.9, and then he says Libby minus whatever ends up being after the roster change. I have a tight end on IR that he's like listed as doubtful for some reason right now, and I don't understand. And they're on bye, so like ESPN, let me put him on my IR because he's not doubtful. He just like had like I don't know. He's gonna have surgery, like whatever. So, anyways, that'll change a little bit. But Luke says, number one, no way do I beat Nathan and win 3 in a row, especially with my best 2 players on bye. I think that's what we call a reverse jinx. Number 2, I always bet on Drew. And number 3, he said Garth Brooks sang "The Thunder Rolls." I think the Libby rolls. The Libby does have rolls, that's for darn sure. But yeah, well, let's see. I think that's about it. Unless we want to do parent corner or pre-parent corner. You are a parent. Your baby's just not here yet.
Yeah, got to meet him.
Yeah.
I thought about this. I've got a student story. It's not a parent story. It's a student story, but it's baby related.
Okay.
That I've probably shared with some of you before, but
Sure.
So a couple of years ago, I had this third grader who ran up to me totally unprompted and all excited. And he goes, I think I know how the baby gets in the mom, but I don't know how he gets out. And I think I just kind of froze for a second, and he just kept going on. He goes, I have 3 guesses though. And he said them just like this: the belly button, the penis, or the butt. And then he just ran away, leaving me wonder how he thinks the baby gets in there.
Ross, you'll be just great as a dad because you got such a well of working with youth that you can draw on like stories like that just won't phase you at all. So my parent corner is this is all meant to encourage you, Ross, and to encourage you in your prospects as being a father. But my 3-year-old, his name is William, and he's been doing this thing where he's still in diapers, and he has a bluey dump truck, like it's like plastic little dump truck. And he's always known that the diapers go in the garbage and the diapers go then into the dump truck. But what he's been doing lately is he's been taking off his diaper at nap time. Like we'll just like walk into his room, he'll just be butt naked from the waist down. And the other day he had a poopy diaper, took it off, and he put it into the toy dump truck. And Chrissy's like, "Where is your diaper?" And then he like pointed over there. And then like we didn't know what poop had touched and what it didn't touch. So she ended and like my wife's a germ freak, so she like Lysoled everything, like every single toy in his room. And this has now happened only one time with poop in it, but this is now a trend. It's happened the last like 3 to 4 days, not always in the dump truck, but taking off his diaper at nap time and putting it somewhere within his bedroom.
It's like a terrible it's like a terrible elf on the shelf that he's setting up for you. Just
Where is it? Yeah, where's the
little,
diaper?
little
Hey.
surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Where did he put it? What might be in it?
Yes, being a father is an endless fountain of joy and happiness
Poop.
and poop and poop. So so yeah, that's what I got for around my parent corner. Is there anything else that we need to touch on here, Ross?
I think we did it.
Did you
Thanks to Tim and Luke for doing this every week. It's a lot of work.
it is.
And I appreciate it.
I agree. Yeah, it's tough. So
I probably don't get enough good feedback and more just complaints like me complaining about things they said. So
yeah.
here's some good feedback. We appreciate it.
It is, and I think it was fun. Me and Ross enjoyed doing it.
Yeah, it's fun.
I really enjoyed researching it and doing it, and hopefully it turns out all right. And Tim touches it on up, and yeah, good job by them, and good job by you, buddy.
John, by you.
And
Gotta end it with football.
football, football.
This is what you get when it's a takeover. Full of amateurs.
Yeah, we'll start over.